We are close to ready.
We are close to ready.
Rolling.
It's not being recorded to tape, the show.
Wow!
What you're saying now is being recorded to tape.
So it can be used against me
Yes.
in a court of law.
But the show technically is on tape.
Okay. So it can't be used against me. Should be used against me. Okay. So I should be on my best behavior, not confess to any sort of crime. Wow. Good thing I wasn't confessing to crimes, because this is... Apparently now we started the show. Welcome, everyone. We're doing a very special show this night. We're broadcasting to you live from TED 2012. I've been at TED all week. I go to TED every year on Twitter, as you know. A lot of people follow me, and they say, Keith, that TED sounds really great. Can I go? And I'm like, yeah, you can. I think it costs like $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 to go. And there's like a 10-year waiting list. Unless you're president or vice president or a billionaire. Probably if you're a billionaire, you can buy your way to the head of the list. So I, as you know, am not a billionaire yet. I've drawn my curve, and it's flat. It's a very, very gentle rise. I may achieve billionaire if we manage to extend the human lifespan to 7,000 or so. I'll have to do the math. I'll let you know. Actually, that won't work, because as I get older, there'll be more of them young punks taking my job. So I'm doomed. I'll never go to TED. Instead, what I do every year is I go to TED on Twitter, which is, I think, wow, what's going on at TED right now? And then I make something up, and then I tweet it. And then people follow me because they think I'm at Twitter. And then they will tell their friends about all the exciting things they read about on Twitter that happened at TED. And then their friends will go, what? And then they'll go, yeah, I read it on Twitter. This guy went out drinking with Rick Springfield. He's freaky smart. Rick Springfield. I mean, not the guy. That would be me, right? And Rick Springfield is great. I got his autograph for a friend of mine who was like, wow, you're with Rick Springfield? And I'm like, yeah. You want his autograph? Yeah. In years past, I used to go to a lot more events on Twitter, but I had to cut back because it's exhausting fake going places. But people later would tell me, like, I don't know how you find time to do all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't know either. I must be great at time planning and at lying. So like 2 or 3 years ago, I decided I had to ratchet up the level of lie, because apparently I was sounding too plausible. But it doesn't matter. You can really ungodly lie, and people will believe you. Which is why I don't trust newspapers. Because I just, like 2 or 3 years ago, I had this story about going to the Council of World Affairs in Colorado in a balloon. A hot air balloon. This was shortly after that rich guy died in a hot air balloon, so I thought, what greater way to elicit sympathy than to take a balloon to the Council of Weird Affairs in memory of, I think, Steve Fosse. I could be misremembering his name. I was like, "What? I've decided to go to caw in a balloon in memory of Steve Fosse." And then I had a story floating across Utah. And I talked about how it was flat. And people would tweet back like, wow, it must be so pretty. And I'm like, the ground is flat. I don't know if you've noticed. I mean, most of this country, if you're in a balloon, you're not that high up, so everything you see is flat. Even if you're above a mountain, locally it looks mostly flat, except for the mountain you're about to hit. And then people were like, wow, I can't believe you're doing that. So I had to keep ratcheting the story up. Like, the balloon had to crash, because people thought I was in a balloon. And then I had to... I think I eventually got to Colorado by hitchhiking my way in the back of a motorhome. Or in the back of a home that was being towed to be delivered to somewhere there. And I talked about making eggs on the stove in the home as we were doing 60 miles an hour down the road. And then someone tweeted me like, that's breaking and entering. And I'm like, really? So I was terribly afraid that somewhere in Colorado there was a police force that got a call like, yeah, there's a house being towed to New Haven, Colorado, and it has a big sign on the back, and there's someone who has broken in and is using the stove to make eggs and bacon. Because apparently they stock those fridges before they set the homes out. Because that way when you get there, they just drop it down. It's ready to live in. Anyway, that's Ted. I got a bunch of topics for tonight. Again, watch here. We'll pick it randomly. We're just gonna shuffle. Watch. I'll turn it over so I don't know what they are. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. This isn't really shuffling, but I've already forgotten which one is which. So it's practically random at this point. Okay. So now we'll pick one of them. There we go. Okay. Optical adventures. A lot of you kids in the audience don't know, but as you get old, it sucks. In that things that used to work fine in your body just stop working, and you start gaining weight for no reason whatsoever, and you make oof noises in the morning when you get up, and you start to think maybe I should take a half aspirin every day. I'm told it might be good for me. Things like that. And in particular, I have reached my mid-40s, which apparently is the point in time when your optician says, you know, maybe you should consider bifocals. Because when you're young, your eyes just work. And then when you get old, they barely work. And specifically, apparently when you get to about my age, the little lenses at the front, this is bad design again. I know people, I don't want to get off into too much of a digression, okay? But all these, you know, intelligent creator, designed by God people, okay? God wouldn't have made the little lenses in your front get hard, so you had to get bifocals as you got older, because it just gives you a neck ache constantly looking up and down so you can see things on your computer screen in focus, because only half of your lens can actually... Sorry. So I have reached the point when... So I went and got new glasses, and they do the little, you know, is this better or this better? Try this, try this. And truthfully, I never know what to say, like which one is better than the other one. So sometimes I just lie. Or not exactly lie, right? But I'm like, well, I mean, I like the blacks in that one better, but the other one's a little sharper, and it's a Tuesday, and I do like C's and F's, and there are L's and G's over here, and I'm not a big fan of L's and G's. I'm gonna the one on the right. The one on the right is better. So the last time I went, she was like, "Oh, your prescription changed a little," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "So here's your new glasses prescription," and we ordered them, and then I go there, and it's 5:00, and she's like, "They give me the glasses." I put in the glasses. I'm like, "Wow, this is great." I'm looking around, I get in the car, I drove home, I'm like, man, look at all those details in the mountains. Those look beautiful. Everything's fine. I get to work the next day, and I sit at my desk, and I'm like, man, look at how far away I have to be from my computer screen to see anything at all. So I bought a pair of glasses that are great for seeing mountains. Which I do twice a day, in the morning when I drive into work, and if I'm lucky and leave, at night when I drive home. And I have glasses which are useless, totally useless, for the 8 hours in between the two, when I have to extend my arms at full length and move the keyboard close to the front edge of the desk so I could actually see the screen. So I went back to my old glasses, right? So now I can't see the mountains. That's fine. I know what they look like. And I just took a picture, made it my background picture on my computer. It's great. But even that's not perfect, because even my old glasses, things are... So it's been an adventure. I'm trying different contacts. So I've been wearing contacts a lot more often. And now people are like, oh, Keith, I didn't know you wore contacts. I'm like, well, ordinarily I wear them once a month on my TV show. And only because it's hard to light glasses in a studio. And so... instead of having to tweak the lights for half an hour to get them exactly right, I just put contacts in and no one cares. But now I have all these different strength contacts on each side, and we're trying, and I'm keeping little notes to see what ones might work. And now people are like, "Oh, Keith, did you get LASIK?" I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't want to let people near my eyes with lasers. I've seen Buck Rogers. Lasers are not our friend. Okay, topic 2: buying a suit. When I graduated from college, I flew out to Apple. I had an interview. I got a job, and then my mother said, "We got to go buy you some suits." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, you've got a real job now. You're going to need to wear a suit sometimes." And so we went out and bought 3 suits. And she said, "These will work for now, and you'll probably have to buy more, but it'll work." And then I moved to California. I got my job at Apple, and those 3 suits hung in my apartment closet. And then when I bought a house, I moved them to my house closet. And like 15 years after I had started Apple, it occurred to me that those suits didn't fit me anymore, because I was thin in college, because I lived on ramen noodles for a year and a half. And then I graduated and stopped exercising. And then the 3 suits that I had worn 4 times total, 2 funerals, 1 party. I forget what the other time was. I think it might have been another party. So I sent those away to charity. And then later, my mother was again visiting, and she's like, what are we going to do when Grandma dies? And in my head, I thought, dance? Because I love Grandma, but Grandma drove me crazy sometimes. And then I said, well, I don't know. And she said, you're going to have a suit to wear to the funeral. I'm like, yeah, probably. So I'll go buy a suit. So I went and bought a suit to wear to Grandma's funeral. Grandma didn't die for a long time. That suit, which fit when I bought it, no longer fit when I actually had to go to Grandma's funeral. So I had to go buy another suit to actually wear to Grandma's funeral. I had to wear a suit last week. It wasn't a funeral. It was an event, which I was officiating at, and they said, you should wear a suit. And I was like, yeah, I should wear a suit. And then I went to get the suit. It didn't fit. I have this freaky, amazing closet into which clothes apparently shrink. All of their own accord. So I did what I was like, well, I guess I could rent a suit. And then I'm like, I don't know if you can even rent. You can rent tuxedos, but I'm not sure if you can rent suits. And if I rent a suit, I'm going to suddenly discover like 7 times in the next 2 months I have to wear a suit again. And then every time I'll be like, I'll just rent a suit for this one time, which just suddenly started coming up. And then I'll have spent more money renting suits than buying a suit. It's not good logic, kids. Don't do this yourselves. But this is what happens inside my head. So I'm like, well, fine, I'll just go buy a suit. So I don't know how suit stores work, in that I got to figure raw materials in a suit are like $14, and they sell for $200, which is why everyone in a suit store is always really well dressed and fairly polite and happy to see you, as opposed to at Walmart, where the stuff they're selling costs $1.80 and they're selling it for $1.88, and they don't really care about you because you're only worth 8 cents. In the suit store, I'm like, I walk into the suit store and the guy's like, how can I help you? And I'm like, I need a black pair of pants, because that's really all I needed. I had a suit coat that fit, and I just needed a new pair of pants, because apparently my closet shrinks pants more than it shrinks tops. It's haunted. And he's like, well, black pants are over here, and he grabs a pair of pants, and I'm like, okay, and we take it into the room. I'm like, okay, those fit that way. They're kind of long. He's like, well, we take them up. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm not completely stupid. So we marky. And I'm like, how much are those? And he's like, $180. And I'm like, $180? That seems kind of pricey for pants. That's $90 a tube. Maybe like $60 a tube, and $50 or $60 for that part at the top, and then $10 for the button. The very expensive button. I think it's made of plastic. And I'm like, oh, okay. How much is a coat? He's like, well, a coat's like $200 or $250. And I'm like, $250 for a coat? Although actually that seemed better because coats have liners and there seem to be more pieces to coats. So I feel better paying more money for a coat I don't need than for pants I do need. It's like, but if you buy them both, I'll take $100 off. Now I'm sold in my head. Okay, I'm like, $100. I've already saved $100 buying a $500 suit. Maybe I should buy 2 suits. They had a sign. They were like, buy. He actually told me the deal. He's like, well, 1 pair of pants is $180, and 2 pair of pants is like $360, but 3 pair of pants is only $350. And there was a brief time in my head when I went, wow, that's like 50% off the second pair of pants. Then I'd have 3 pair of pants to throw away in 4 years when none of them fit. I restrained myself. I didn't buy the 3 pair of pants, but I did buy the suit coat. And all told, it took me like 20 minutes in the store. So I don't know if suit guys are paid on commission, but if they are, I am a suit guy on commission's dream. Because I walk in, and then he gets his 30%, and 20 minutes later, he's doing whatever they do when there's no one in the store. Next on my list is plumbing. I've had to do a couple plumbing repairs lately, mostly toilets. Plumbing is miserable work. Anytime I hire a plumber, which I don't do because I prefer to be miserable by myself. But every time I hire one, I think, wow, this guy's making a lot of money per hour. And then every time I start doing plumbing, I'm like, plumbers are a lot better at this, and I should have hired a plumber. Specifically lately, I've been trying to fix toilets that have tiny leaks. Like, you got a toilet, and every hour you just hear it go and fill up with water a little bit. And you're like, oh, I should fix that. I'm wasting water all the time. I mean, over the course of a year, that probably adds up to $7 or $8 worth of water. I need to get right on this. Why do I hate the earth? So I drive over to Orchard and I buy all the pieces I think I need to fix the toilet, and I drive home. And then I look at my toilet and realize I have bought the wrong piece. So I get back in my car and drive back to the store. We're already up to $4 worth of gas, I'm thinking. I buy more pieces to fix the toilet. And then I think, while I'm there, I'm like, I don't think I need that, but I should buy it just in case. So I bought a couple other things that I didn't need to fix the toilet, but I might need them if I was wrong about what was busted. And then I drove home. And then I tried to fix the toilet. And then I discovered 2 things. First of all, plumbing again is miserable work because you can't see why something is leaking. You can only go like, well, it's probably a gasket or a gasket-like device. But by God, if I can figure out what's wrong with gaskets. To me, they're like 2 pieces of rubber and you put them together and they shouldn't leak. And whenever I do, they leak a lot. They leak a lot more than they did before I started fixing things. And in this particular case, remember when I was at the store, I was like, I should buy that. I might need it. I don't think I will, but I would. So I bought the bolts you use to hold your toilet tank to the bottom of your toilet because they can't make one piece. I'm not sure why. Apparently my toilet has 3 bolts, but they sell toilet bolts in 2s. This is like a hot dog conspiracy. I don't know why. I went back to the store and looked, and they have all the toilet bolts. They're always 2 at a time. I've started looking at toilets. Like if I'm out in a store, I will take the lid off and look. Every toilet I've looked in has 3 bolts in it. So I blame someone for that. Some marketing guy. I think I may have gotten the toilet fixed. It's about 3 hours of time. And I have 2 more toilets to do after this. And I think I bought 3 times as much as I need. But I opened all of it and used parts from everything, so I can't take it back. And even so, I don't want to take it back because it's like admitting failure. Like, yeah, I tried to put this, like, I would like to return this toilet inside. I'm like, did you use it? Oh, no. Why is it wet? Okay, see? I'm stuck there. It's going to take that editor idiot a long time to get this show on the air. So by the time this gets on the air, this will have been news from long ago, and you people will not care. But I have been watching the Republican primaries with some amazement. I don't quite get it. I mean, do they know they're running for president? Has it occurred to them they want people to want to vote for them? And a lot of people, not just like the relatives. Specifically this week and last week, apparently they don't like birth control anymore. Here's the thing. I'm not sure if Republicans have realized it. Dudes and chicks are different. Most Republicans I know are dudes. Dude plumbing is simple. It's all on the outside. Nothing bad happens to it. Chicks have all this stuff inside them, little complicated things that they like to keep working, and that occasionally that they take drugs for. And the Republicans seem to be saying, like, no, we don't want to cover those because that's the thing babies come out of, and it's vaguely icky. And so, if we don't talk about that, or let you do stuff with like that, we will feel less icky. But the thing that confuses me is, see, dudes like to have sex mostly with girls. Nothing wrong with the other way. Not my particular interest, but many dudes like the women. And the women like to not be pregnant all the time. Because I'm told it's kind of miserable for a lot of it. And that later, when you think back, you realize you were happy. But it might have been the hormones. And so the thing that keeps women from being miserable and pregnant all the time is the birth control. And without that, they're not going to do those disgusting things with the little dresses that we all like. I'm very confused by this. And I think if you just went back to your hotels and had just like a 5-minute confab, people, you would realize there are better things to talk about all the time that maybe will get people to like you more. But again, this won't be on until long after this is passed. So, Leap Day. It's March 1st, 2012. That means yesterday was February 29th, 2012. It was Leap Day, a magical day that happens once every 4 years, except every 100 years, but every 500 years. And I don't need to know any more than that. There's another exception. It's like every 8,000 years or something. I don't know why we put Leap Day in February. You know, if Leap Day was the 32nd day of December, all of our calendars would not be screwed up every 4th year, and people would not be confused. But apparently of late, they have started to make it into a holiday. And they're like, you should do something exciting on Leap Day. And I was like, you mean Wednesday? They're like, yes, it's Leap Day. And I'm like, it's Wednesday. But I heard a lot more about Leap Day yesterday than I did 4 years ago. And there are bunches of these fakey type holidays. Like 10 years ago, there was Festivus, the holiday for the rest of us. Happened around Christmas time. It was like Christmas, but no baby Jesus. And I think there was a poll and something else. Valentine's Day, fake holiday. I just keep saying that. I don't know if it's true or not, but the more I can downplay Valentine's Day, the better things are for me. I'm told in Japan that Valentine's Day is only when girls give guys stuff, which initially sounded great to me, and then I was like, that's just gonna boomerang. And then they were like, oh no, there's a day a month later when guys are supposed to give girls things. And I'm like, okay, order is restored. So another topic. I think yesterday also we all heard Davy Jones from the Monkees died. He was young-ish. And so everyone's like, oh, it's so sad when he's dead. And I'm like, you haven't thought of Davy Jones for 10 years. Probably for 20 years. It's not sad that he's dead. It's just earlier than you really thought you'd have to be thinking about Davy Jones again. And it occurred to me, I mentioned this, that if I want to be remembered on the day I die, I need to come up with some really popular tunes and get everyone to sing them for about 4 or 5 years. Because I could not drive anywhere without hearing Monkees music yesterday. And it's not bad music. I think I do actually own all the Monkees albums because I am a significant loser. But there you go. Actually, the Monkees is one of the first TV shows I remember ever seeing. I don't really recall having a TV in the house that I grew up in with my parents. I think we had one. I don't know if we watched it very often. I know they watched some at night, but like didn't really watch it during the day. But when we went to my grandmother's house once, she had a television, and we watched this weird show with these guys and the puppets, and they did this. They pretended to be kings and jesters and things, and there were songs, and it was great. And then like 10 years later, I was watching afternoon television, and I realized I had seen an episode of The Monkees when I was like 4.5. And what I remembered being this great show that just went on was just half an hour long. And it really wasn't as funny as I remembered. But that's the way a lot of things are. Yeah, I did that one. I did Leap Day. Look, I don't have much time left at all. I don't know what that bottom set of numbers is, though. I have 13 minutes and 17 seconds of something.
No, there you go.
No, I don't. Okay, lastly, quickly, the Academy Awards just happened, and everyone's like, Keith, you can talk about the Academy Awards? I'm like, I don't watch them. And then they're like, didn't you see Angelina? And I'm like, well, I saw it on Twitter. She needs to eat a sandwich. And then when she's done eating that sandwich, she needs to eat another sandwich. And she needs to do that every day for a while, because don't worry about her. Anyway, I stopped watching the Academy Awards when I realized I wasn't eligible. And then someone said, no, Keith, you're eligible for the Emmys because you're on TV. And I'm like, no, I'm not eligible for the Academy Awards because I'm terrible. Not because I'm not on film. I don't think I'm eligible for the Emmys either. Again, because I'm terrible. And I think